that the NPP, this administration, is going to use IMF money conscientiously for Ghana. That's what Mr. President said. Did you listen to him when he spoke yesterday? The 29th update on COVID-19.
Well, I watched him with sadness because I've told you, I have lost faith in this administration. I am just praying that this administration will be able to stay alive and live peacefully. And hopefully we can stop ex gratia for these people who have ingratiated themselves with the people of Ghana and made things worse for the people of Ghana. In a nation where young girls cannot buy sanitary towels because there are 14 different taxes on sanitary towels, we have a council of state whose advice the president does not need to take, but is still paid, and they also receive ex gratia. And these people are still in leadership, and we are thinking, is this the best we can get? Like they said in the Wakanda movie, is this your king?
You say we're a rich nation led by a poor thinking
leadership.
Yep. And then you talk about people cutting deals.
Should I give you another reason why we're poor thinking leadership?
You could, but just let me pose the question. So that we are a people who have leaders who like to cut corners to fill their pockets rather than to line their pockets rather than provide for the people. What then do you make of that GNPC tussle? You know, the one involving Freddie Blay, the energy minister, cease and desist.
Freddie Blay has become Pontius Pilate. He says, I wash my hands.
Right. He says he's now going to cease and desist.
But what does that mean? No, what does that mean? Look, even the class prefect, when there's too much noise in the class, right? And the school board or the governors of the school come by to say, what's happening in this class? The class prefect cannot say, I wash my hands. Now, if a 10-year-old will not say, I wash my hands when his class is making noise, how does somebody at that level of government say, I cease and desist? What does that mean? Look, my mother said something that I wrote down. You know, I go and sit with her. You know, she's going to be 83 in September. And, no, 84 in September. And I converse with her. And then she says the most profound things. And I had to write this down. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to write a whole book on this. I say, Kwesi Cheye. Akoma pa eni akukuduro. No kware ka eni fawohoma. Edemufwa. Akoma pa eni akukuduro. No kware ka eni fawohoma. Edemu befwa. Saa niyama wei. Onifrafuo mpo ohu. Ni anaso esie mpo oti. Enti nukure ni Ghana. Yempenyimfo no wo ma yeyi wo me ya because wo mu nye yempenyimfo because yempenyimfo ye papa mo ye nananom mo ene ya hemfo ne ya maame mo. These people are our elected public servants. We have given them all the perks so they will live well with their families, so they will do right by the people, so they can speed through traffic, so they will be safe and nobody can attack them, so they will have a policeman looking, you know, after them so nobody can attack them. Pay them well so they can also pay their domestics well. And how do they serve us? How do they serve us? When people's fathers go to hospital and they say there's no bed and they die, and you say, okay, I'm aware of that, but I'm building a cathedral because I made a promise to my God. So what next? Somebody comes and says, well, I worship stones, so I'm going to go to the Afajatu mountain and commission that whole area and make it the stone grove and also develop it into something with whatever money. No, we don't bring you into power to come and do what you want to. Like Thomas Sowell said, people will tell you that this is the public interest, when in actual fact, they are only doing their selfish desires.
Is that what you saw in the Freddie Blay case?
The country is...
Is that what you saw in the Freddie Blay instance?
But of course. You see, and...
He says his hands are clean.
All these things must go to court. Now, citizens are going to have to take cases to court. Look, there's one I want to go to court. I want us to enact something on nepotism. You know, when JFK made his brother, 35-year-old who had never tried a case in court, the Attorney General, right? After he had died and gone, even though people said he was a good president, and he also made, his brother-in-law head of the Peace Corps, the people said no. So after he had died, and another person was in power, they put forth a document that was enacted into law. The act on nepotism. So once you're president, you can't employ any relative.
Should we get to that point in this country? I mean,
this administration has shown us that nepotism is real.
But
it's ugly.
Isn't it shocking? Because
it's
there were complaints about the previous administration, and probably the only person that
they should have done it
was Bawa Mokhtari. No. And now, as many would say, there's quite a list.
The nepotism is ugly. Look, there are some people who do not have finances to come and give you money for your campaign, but they queue to vote, right? And they have studied, they have mastered their area of work. You say, it's got to be my family before everybody else. So we have to think of a law on nepotism. This is something I expect the Ghana Bar Association to be talking about, because I think their silence in this administration is deafening. It's deafening. Is it because the president is a lawyer, so it's a courtesy to one of us? It's worrisome. I'm asking the question. It's worrisome.
And others have posed the same question. But on the bit about, yes, we're talking about these shady deals that supposedly, and no one is saying that that deal was shady, but I guess as the cookie crumbles, we'll find out when we read the documentation and we look at some of the issues that we've seen in the offshore situation. But ex gratia.
I have talked about it with clarity.
I want you to delve into it one more time. And it is this. Should we scrap it? Or should we proceed with it? Consider Kwame Pienim, for example, economist. He was speaking over the weekend and said, look, if you're a president and you come, and we have a vicious cycle where almost every 6 years we go to the IMF anyway. If you're a president, you come, you lead us into an IMF situation. You don't get the benefits.
No, you shouldn't
when you are no longer president. And if you're in some other capacity, minister or whatever, and you don't deliver, no ex gratia for you. I mean, there have to be some benchmarks. But on the back of that, there's been a tussle. The Daily Guide captures it this morning. Mahama Nana Akufo-Addo tussle over ex gratia. Former President Mahama.
What is the president saying? What is Nana Akufo-Addo saying? I'll take a stance.
So the former president has said, if he gets the reins of power one more time, he'll scrap this bit. Ex gratia.
See, the thing is,
then
he can't, because you
Nana Akufo-Addo says
you have to go to Parliament.
And those are the processes. Exactly. As for the processes to be followed,
yep,
they are in there.
Fantastic.
But the point is, Nana Akufo-Addo says, but you're benefiting from it. You're a current beneficiary of the system. Then the former president comes to clarify in a tweet. He says, my friend Nana Akufo-Addo, really sad what politics can do to a fine mind. I don't take ex gratia. I receive a monthly pension.
So you're telling me that a former member of parliament, Nana Akufo-Addo, did not know the difference between the monthly pension and ex gratia?
That's the bone of contention now.
Okay. Now, I think ex gratia should be scrapped, and I'll tell you why. We have the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. If you pay into that, depending on your profession and depending on your position, you may go home with your full salary during your pension. For some people, they get less. So these people who are already in the highest positions, who would go home with perhaps their full salary when they went on pension, are the ones who are still looking for more. Let's serve the needy, not the greedy. Ghana, listen. Serve the needy, not the greedy. You've been given so much. You have so much influence. Now you're going home, and we collect these amounts of money, and we say, take it. And if you don't go home and you come back to Parliament again, you sit there and you take it again. I mean, look, we have to question our elders.